Throughout your childhood and adult life, you had a very strong and positive relationship with your maternal grandparents. You loved and love your Nan very much, and she loved and still loves you. Her evidence at your trial was compelling and informative. You clearly displayed many of the recognised features of autistic spectrum disorder, and you lacked the ability to show empathy to others, with the exception of your Nan and, to some extent, your granddad, until shortly before his death. I pause there to record my firm view, as supported by the psychiatric evidence, that the offending in which you were involved was learned from your own childhood experiences, and your lack of empathy or understanding was exacerbated by and rooted in your autism. You have no other convictions. However, you were on licence from that sentence when you killed your grandfather. Days before you were sent to custody in 2016, your grandfather had a stroke which left him paralysed, save for the partial use of his right side. He was largely bedbound and looked after by your grandmother, supported by daily carers. While you were serving your sentence, you were the victim of violence at the hands of other prisoners. You were prescribed medication for your autism and depression whilst you were in custody. You were released on licence in September 2019. COVID hit you very hard. You became obsessive about catching the virus and behaved in very extreme ways in order to avoid doing so. You also became paranoid about infecting your grandparents and avoided contact with them. Your mental health deteriorated as a result because you were isolated and separated from your grandmother. On Christmas Eve 2020, you went to your grandmother's house and asked her to help you to commit suicide by providing for you an overdose of tablets. You said that you wanted to die in her arms. She comforted you and she dissuaded you. You stayed at your grandparents' house for Christmas, but then returned to your flat on the 27th of December. From that date onwards, you would speak to your Nan on the phone 3 or 4 times every hour. On the 6th of January of 2021, you rang your Nan again, intent on killing yourself. She tried to persuade you not to do so, but you called the RSPCA and asked them to collect your pet ferret, telling the operator that you were going to commit suicide. The operator noted that you were speaking most bizarrely and making very little sense. That call was recorded and the jury heard the nature of the things which you were saying, which were psychotic in nature. On that occasion, you were taken to hospital, but due to your autism, you did not understand that you were expected to stay there, and instead you took a taxi to your Nan's house. She wanted you to stay with her, but you went back to your flat because of concern for your pet. You were in no fit state to be left unsupervised. Your Nan said that by then, quotes, "we all knew he wasn't well." You were only relaxed if you could lie next to your Nan and hold her arm. Your medication was increased, and your home treatment team was then changed from the team which had been looking after you near your flat to the one near your grandparents. From the 15th of January, you never left your Nan's address again until your arrest for murder. You spent your days with your Nan and continued to speak about demons who were out to get you. At about this time, your mother told you that she would not have peace until your grandfather was dead. You also knew by then how unhappy he had made your grandmother. On the 18th of January, you watched a film with your Nan about an abused orphan and texted your mother about the effect that film had had upon you. On the morning of the killing, the 19th of January, the carers came as usual to see to your grandfather's needs. When they had gone, your Nan took him a biscuit and a cup of coffee. That was the last time she saw him alive. She noted that you were jittery and couldn't rest. You asked to lie down next to her, which you did. However, when she got up, you then went downstairs. It was about 11:30 or 11:45 that morning. You selected a knife from the kitchen and you went to your grandfather's room. Following the killing, you told your Nan what you had done, saying, quotes, "He can't hurt you anymore, Nan." You also texted your mother saying, quotes, "Mum, I've killed Grandad. I love you." Your Nan called 999 and you sat with her. At one point you went upstairs and sat on the windowsill. I'm satisfied that you had it in mind to jump to your death, but your Nan persuaded you to come in and you calmly sat with her until the police arrived. You were entirely cooperative. Your Nan told the police, quotes, "We all wanted to kill him," close quotes. That was a reference to your Grandad. While you were in custody before your trial, there were numerous mental health assessments which resulted in a divergence of opinion as to the true nature and extent of your mental illness. The psychiatrists instructed on your behalf for your trial had access to all your records and had greater expertise in determining the true position. In the light of the jury's verdict, I propose to proceed on the basis that the defence experts, Dr. Cumming and Dr. Coe, were correct in their diagnosis of autistic spectrum disorder, depression, and adjustment disorder, the latter as a result of finding out about the allegations of sexual abuse by the deceased. Their view was that your diagnosed medical conditions substantially impaired your ability to form a rational judgment. You did not think that there was an alternative to killing your Grandad. You did not think about the consequences and did not have the skills to manage conflict or to see the bigger picture due to your obsessional and tunnel vision. On the other hand, you did understand that you were killing your Grandad and had decided to do so. You made the determined decision to kill your Grandad and you carried out the killing in a ferocious but controlled way. In addition, it is to your credit that you have always accepted your guilt and told the truth about what you did and why. You have also expressed remorse, telling the probation officer, quotes, "I've just made it worse, made the pain greater." There was ample evidence that you had tried to seek help for your mental health problems and had done well whilst on licence. It is unfortunate that the professionals did not identify the risk posed by you remaining in the community, and particularly by placing you with your grandparents. Dr. Cumming has provided an addendum report which confirms that a hospital order is not an option in your case. He describes you as a very damaged man who will require psychological work in the longer term. In my view, the mitigating factors balance out the aggravating factors so that I do not add to the notional term of 24 years. I then have to consider dangerousness. The probation officer has accurately set out the relevant considerations, and I agree with her assessment and the reasons for it. In my judgment, you do present a significant risk to the public, occasioned by the commission of further specified offences, due firstly to your previous serious offending, secondly, the fact that there is evidence that you have a continuing interest in illegal pornography, thirdly, the suddenness of your deterioration, and fourthly, the seriousness and ferocity of the attack upon your grandfather. You therefore fit the criteria for a dangerous offender. In your case, I do consider that the seriousness of the offence justifies a life sentence, and that is the sentence I must therefore impose upon you.